Welcome to the Revolution of Purpose podcast. I'm your host, John Street, and each week we bring you conversations with thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and individuals who have aligned their life with purpose and created extraordinary results.
So I'm going to live through it and accept it radically with grace and hope and love.
I would be proud to be in this council.
It was an honor. I had so much fun.
Tune in every Monday for the Revolution of Purpose solo show and every Thursday for Revolution of Purpose conversations. Welcome back to the Revolution of Purpose podcast. I'm John Street, mindset coach, speaker, author of the book Revolution of Purpose, and someone who is passionate about helping people identify your purpose, ignite your transformation, and implement your vision. Today, I want to talk to you about a teaching that has shaped the personal development world for decades. It's known as Be, Do, Have. Many of you have heard it before. If you've been following me teaching for a long time, I have been teaching this. It is an idea that is simple. Most people believe that when they have something, they'll do the necessary things to become that person that they want to be. So in other words, when I have more money, I'll start investing. Or when I have more confidence, I'll take that chance. Or when I have more time, I'll start pursuing my purpose. But the Be, Do, Have model challenges this way of thinking. It's sort of like society says, when I have the money, I'll invest and then I'll be a wealthy person. And Be, Do, Have instead says, no, first we must become that person and then do the actions and then we'll have the results. This is a really powerful teaching. It was made popular by Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, a lot of others, and it is something that I really value. And over the last few days, I've actually been asking myself a question. What if we've misunderstood the Be, Do, Have teaching? What if in personal development, we're missing something that is an important key to Be, Do, Have actually working in people's lives? What if many people are getting stuck because they think being is something passive? What if the Be of Be, Do, Have is not passive at all, but it's actually an action? Because here is what I've learned. You don't think your way into a new life. Yes, thinking is important. And yes, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. All of that is true. But you can't just think. You have to act your way into your new life. Every action is a vote for the person that you're becoming. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. The missing piece of the important teaching, Be, Do, Have. It's not that in the personal development circles we have Be, Do, Have wrong. We just have the word be wrong. I think that so many of us have just misunderstood it. When people hear be, they often think, okay, I have to think differently, or I have to visualize myself differently. Maybe I have to write different affirmations. Maybe I have to imagine myself differently. And while all of those things have value, they're just incomplete because being isn't merely something that you think. Being is something that you know. Being is something that you embody. Being is something that you practice. Being is something that you demonstrate through action. Think about a chef, for instance. Let's say that you have a person who wants to become a chef. They go to cooking school. They start cooking. They open a restaurant. They're serving food. They're selling food. They know they're a chef. They don't have to keep telling themselves every day they've become a chef. They don't buy a big chef's hat and put it on and look in the mirror and say, you are a chef. I believe you're a chef. No, they take the actions to change their identity. Being is something that you demonstrate through your actions. A confident person doesn't simply think confident thoughts. A confident person takes confident actions. Likewise, a healthy person doesn't just simply imagine being healthy. What would it be like if I were healthy one day? I guess that makes me a healthy person. No, a healthy person starts to make healthy choices and take healthy actions. A leader doesn't become a leader just because they thought about starting a business, or maybe they order business cards that say CEO. They become a leader because they lead. Being is not a noun. Be, do, have, being is a verb. It is an active action verb. As a matter of fact, it requires movement. And so I think this is where so many people get stuck. And maybe they say manifestation doesn't work for me. Be, do, have doesn't work for me. And that's because you've got to move past the affirmations. You've got to move past the looking in the mirror and telling yourself who you are. You have to go to where being is a knowing of who you are. Stop trying to convince yourself that you're someone without doing the things that that person would do. You really have to put the action behind it to become that person. Every action is a vote for who you desire to be. One of the most powerful realizations that I've ever had in this is that when we take an action toward our identity, we are voting for ourselves. Every workout we do is a vote. Every healthy meal we do is a vote. Every difficult conversation we have is a vote. Every sales call we have is a vote. Every boundary we set amongst toxic people to live the best life we can live is a vote. Every time that you choose courage over comfort, you are casting a vote. Not a vote for who you were, but a vote for who you're becoming. You are casting a vote for the be of be, do, have. Many people think identity comes first and then action comes later, but I've really found that identity and action are constantly shaping each other. Instead of looking at be, do, have as a linear, I believe we should start looking at be, do, have as a circular. Because we have to do the action to be, and then that action causes us to do the things that that person would do. And then we have the things that person would have, which causes us to do more action, which makes us be more and more of that person, which means we take more and more of those actions, which means we have more and more of the results. Stop thinking, I'm going to think about who I should be, and then I'll do those actions, and then I'll have the results. Instead, jump into the loop. Jump into that circular action of being that person and doing more of the things that person does and having more of the results. So you do more of the things and you be more of the things. Just look at be as an action, do as an action, and even have is an action. Because you realize to have the things that our desired person has, we have to accept those things. We have to know that we're worthy of having those things. We have to do the actions to get them, and we have to accept them. Identity is an action, and it with doing is constantly shaping yourself. Your action confirms your identity, and the more evidence that you create, the more that you begin to believe in yourself. You believe, and the more you believe, the more you act, and the more act you, the more you have, and you just keep adding to this cycle. And eventually that cycle becomes a full life transformation. You don't become a different person and then start taking different actions. You start taking different actions until they build a different person. I certainly lived this in my own life. At one point in my life, I weighed well over 350 pounds. I was struggling with so many health issues, and I couldn't even take long walks. I was getting sicker and sicker and so unhealthy. And let me just be careful here, because I know a lot of times there are people who talk about a health transformation and they say it in a way that is very judgmental. And so just because I'm at a different place on this particular journey does not mean that I'm judging anyone for not being there. This is not about body size. This is not about fat phobia. This is not about appearance, but this is about my personal transformation. Because no matter what it is, everyone has a mountain that they're climbing. And what happened to be one of mine was my weight. It was rooted in food addiction and sugar addiction. And here's what I learned through my process of losing about 120 pounds. I didn't wake up one morning and magically become a healthy person. For 45 years, I had been very unhealthy. And so it didn't just change overnight. I didn't suddenly believe that's who I was, so I did the things. It wasn't like be, do, have, and then it just worked. I didn't stand in front of a mirror and convince myself that I was healthy, and then I started to do the right things. What happened for me was so much simpler. I just started taking small, healthy actions. I started making some better choices. I went walking when I didn't feel like going walking. I went and exercised at the gym when I didn't feel like exercising at the gym. I remember one night, it was 8 o'clock and it was my day to go to the gym, and I didn't feel like going. It was raining outside. I'm like, who goes to the gym at 8 o'clock? I'm not that guy. And then I just stopped myself and I was like, I am that guy. All I have to do to be that guy is actually go to the gym at 8 o'clock. It was the action that made me believe that I was that guy. I made different decisions around my food. I made different decisions around my activities and my exercises and the weights that I was doing. Like everything was just working in a cycle to help convince me of who I was becoming. Over time, those actions created evidence, and that evidence created belief, and that belief strengthened my identity. It gave me hope that the old me did not have to dictate who the current me was. And eventually, I wasn't trying to become a healthier person. I was a healthier person. Not because I said I was, not because I just looked in the mirror and kept saying, John, you're a healthier person, but because I was taking those actions. I was living like a healthier person lives. The doing created the being, and then the being produced the results. That is true for health. That is true for business. That is true for relationships. That is true for your purpose. Please pardon me while I interrupt your podcast with a word from your sponsor, me. If you're enjoying today's episode and you're looking for more motivation, mindset strategies, and purpose-driven content, then I would love to connect with you. You can follow me on my social media platforms. Instagram is John Street Official, so is YouTube and TikTok. Facebook and LinkedIn is John Street. I also have a business page on Facebook, John Street Mindset Coach. And if you've ever found yourself asking questions like, why am I here? Or am I living my purpose? How do I get unstuck in life? Or how do I take my life to the next level? Then I would love to invite you to schedule a free purpose and clarity call with me. This is an actual call with me, not with someone from my team. During this live complimentary coaching session, we'll talk about where you are and where you want to go, what may be standing in your way. This is my opportunity to serve you and help you gain greater clarity, direction, and momentum. To connect with me, book a call, or learn more about my Revelation of Purpose coaching program, you can visit johnstreet.org. And now, let's get back to this podcast. The doing creates the identity that brings about the results. You know, there's this saying out there, it's very, very famous. Fake it until you make it. I have never loved that phrase. I just always felt like it sounded like someone's pretending, you know, it just implies that someone's putting on a mask, that they're not real. It implies acting like something that you're not. And I don't like that. I believe 100% that our power is in our authenticity. And so we need to awaken to who we truly are to make it. So I prefer a different phrase. Be it and you will see it. To me, be it and you will see it does not mean pretending. It means becoming. It means awakening to who you are. It means aligning with that version of yourself that we are called to be, that is already within us. If you want to become a writer, then write. If you want to become a speaker, then speak. If you want to become healthy, then make healthy choices. Do healthy things. If you want to become a leader, then lead. Don't wait until you feel like that person. Act like that person. Not from ego and not from performance, but from alignment. You don't become the person and then start acting like the person. You act in alignment with your wish fulfilled, as Neville Goddard would say, with that future version of yourself until eventually you realize, I am that person. In the present. It's not the future anymore. It's here. I love the scripture that talks about how, you know, we can point to the mountain and say, mountain be moved, and it'll be moved and cast into the depths of the seas. And I think it's really awesome because I think that whether you come from a Christian religion or any other type of religion, as long as you believe that there is a higher power that you can tap into, that you can move mountains. But here's the thing, sometimes moving that mountain doesn't mean the mountain gets out of your way. Sometimes we move the mountain by taking a step and then another step and then another step. And every step we take over that mountain, the mountain's starting to go further and further behind us. Faith is movement. And this is really where purpose and spirituality come together. Many people think faith is belief, but I believe faith is movement, because faith is taking the step when you can't see the entire staircase. Faith is climbing the mountain when it hasn't moved out of your way, and learning that as you climb and God, the universe, is giving you the way over the mountain, that the mountain is slowly going behind you. Faith is stepping out of the boat when you don't see a way to not drown. Faith is trusting that your actions matter even when the results aren't visible yet. The seed grows underground long before it breaks through the soil, and that growth is happening even when you can't see it. But most people, they wait for certainty. It's a lot easier to just stop and say the affirmations than to actually take the action. But certainty comes after you take action, not before. You don't get step 2 until you take step 1. The universe rarely reveals the entire journey. God rarely hands us the complete blueprint and says, okay, this is where you want to go. This is what you're going to have to do step by step by step. No, usually faith is required. Surrender is required. Trust is required. And we're just shown one step, and then maybe the next step, and then maybe the next step. The people who transform their lives aren't the people who know the most. They're the people who move. So after thinking about this for several days, here's where I landed. I still believe in be, do, have. I believe in it more than ever, as a matter of fact. But I do think we need to understand it differently. I do think that this very teaching that has set some people free has also kept some people stuck. Be. Act from the identity of the person you are becoming. Act from the identity of the person you are becoming. Do. Take consistent actions that align with that identity. Have. Receive the results that naturally follow. Being is not passive. Doing is not optional. Having requires acceptance and trust. All three, be, do, have, are actions. And when all three are active, transformation becomes inevitable. That is my hope to you today as you see this. I want you to know that you cannot lose when you actively be that person, when you actively do the things that person would do, and you actively accept and have the things that person would have. Transformation is inevitable. You just have to flow in it. You're awakening to what is already within you. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with 3 questions. I want you to ask yourself, who do I want to become? I want to ask yourself, what action would that version of me take today? And then ask, what am I waiting for before I take it? And then let me challenge you. Stop waiting to become that person. Say the affirmations. Say them in a mirror. Write it down. Journal it. Those are amazing things. But then once you do, put that action with it. Start casting votes for that person you desire to be. One action, one decision, one choice at a time, because every single action is a vote for that person you're becoming. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Revolution of Purpose podcast. If today's conversation resonates with you, then be sure to subscribe. Please leave me a review. Share this episode with someone who needs it. And remember, you don't think your way into a new life. You act your way into a new identity. Every action is a vote for that new identity that you are becoming. So be it, and you will see it. Until next time, identify your purpose, ignite your transformation, and implement your vision. God bless.